Hey all, quick demo here on, wait, what? What do you want? You want your axe to be on fire? Okay, we can do that for you. That's pretty good. Can you stop dancing like that though? Okay. Thank you, He-Man. Okay, so quick demo here. What we're gonna do is make our weapons be on fire, or maybe have some sort of mythical glow to them. And this is actually a very easy thing that we can do. If I dissect what this is just a bunch of planes. And as a matter of fact, if I look at my UV map, that's what this is. It is a polygon that I split in 4 sections here. So that allows for me to have the appearance of flames, and pretty nice, easy technique that can give us a more mythical look to that, or maybe look at fixing He-Man's hair from this terrible model I did back in the day. He looks way better this way. So this is an easy thing to do. I'm doing this using a Blinn, so I have that right here. And if I graph this, I should call that fire. What's going in here is PNG with transparency. And so the transparency is linked in, and I also have my ambient color cranked up. And when we put this into Sketchfab or something like that, this is also controllable. Very easy to do. What's really cool about this technique too, he's still on fire, is we can do some animation on this. So let's say that I mesh separate. These are all individual pieces, and I am just going to grab one of these out of here so I can show you what I'm talking about. So let me first center my pivot. I'm going to freeze some stuff so I can get that out. Okay, I'm going to take my pivot and move this down to the bottom. And now what I could do with this is, if I take this, I'll hit the S key to scale. I'm going to shrink it down and then bring it back up. And now I should have something like that going on. Now the more of these I add, the more it's going to look like it's a moving fire. So this takes obviously some time to do that. If I duplicate that and rotate that around, trying not to make it so it looks exactly the same, I should be able to ignore dancing He-Man back there. Scale that in different ways here. I also want to offset that animation. I probably shouldn't have that going at the same exact time. So now there's one, and for this one I'm going to scale it here, and then hit copy, and then paste that again. And now I could have something like that going on. Now this isn't great. I should check my timing and work on that for the sake of saving you guys some time. I'm not going to work on this. You kind of should be able to get the idea at this point. So this is pretty easy to do. And again, I started off with a plane, and whatever's up with my controls, there we go, I reset those to world, and I can see this is way too much, so bring it down. Easier to work with one by one, and then we can divide it up later on. So how do I do this? This is actually something that was done in Photoshop, and how I got to this phase here, I'm going to back this up. I have this shape, and that shape is actually generating my fire. So I'm gonna share the link to the person that actually I totally ripped off, because I think they do a really good job in explaining this. But let me show you guys in here really quick. I'll give you the link to the original demo in there as well. But the main thing is color. Let's set that to fill. So I'm going to do a fill of black. So contents to black. Hit OK. Make a new layer. Go in our pen tool, and we got to draw out sort of a curved shape here. So You really do this with anything, but we're trying to make like an organic looking piece of fire. So we have that. I'm going to go into my tool so I can actually modify this, because this isn't the greatest looking yet. There we go. Now that I have that, I just need to go to Filter, Render, Flame, and ooh, fire. That's a lot faster than our demo that we had to do for or our exercise last semester, right? Right now it's set to fine, draft, and low. If your computers can't handle those, you could always go down that low. So I'm gonna go back to the fine, and it's also very slow. I can do one flame, I can do multiple flames along a path, which is kind of cool if you're making some cheesy text that's on fire. There's candlelight, which is kind of cool too. So there's a lot of different variables that we can mess around with on these things to make for some interesting pieces. Sometimes it grays out depending on what the numbers are using. I find that, and so is the tutorial that I'll share with you guys, one flame along path works really well. And I have my settings here I can mess around with. So turbulence, jag, opacity, flame lines complexity, and arrangement. So we get a lot that we could do with this. So if I go from here, I can go to violent or normal. And when I like something, I can just hit OK. It's going to make a fire. Okay. And I'm going to move this one out of the way. So I'll just move it over here. I'll scale these down later. Right now this is 1024 by 1024. So I'm going to make another one now. I'm going to go to another layer. I still have this path selected. Filter. And I'm going to go to Render, Flame. And we're going to change that again. So I'm going to go to my Advanced. And make it so it doesn't completely blow out my system here. There we go. I like that one. All right, make me another one. And you get the idea. So you do this as many times as you want variation in it. Now remember, when we're working in 3D for games, or we're doing something where we want to maximize the uses of our resources, making it so we have 4 things in a texture is a lot more efficient than just one. You might be wondering too, well, couldn't you have added more? Yes, I can, but the dangerous thing that we don't want to have happen here. So if I go into my rulers, I want to put some guides in here. So there's my middle mark, and here is my middle mark for my vert. So for the vertical and horizontal, you can see where this is. I might be able to put one in the middle, but the thing that I don't want to have happen is if I'm drawing out a polygon, I don't want to have any overlap that's going on there. So I'm taking advantage of the fact that I know I can slice this and it's not going to be a problem. And again, yes, if I have this one and that one, so let's say that I have these two on the side, could I theoretically go like this? There's still a division there, yes, as long as you don't have something like this happening where there's an overlap. We could cut that out in Maya, but what I'm trying to do is utilize the least amount of polygons as possible when I'm producing this. This is why it's only a 4x4 polygon that I'm putting that on. Once I have this done, I'll save this out as a PNG with transparency. So I will turn off that black, so save that, and then we get something like this. So pretty cool. Now we can always modify this even further. I know this isn't very epic feeling yet, so maybe you had poison as your element that you were working with, or water. We could do I'm going to do a color overlay. So I'll do a fill again, and I'm going to do that with just the foreground color right now. Now I know that that's yellow, but that's okay because I could do a color overlay. And I'm going to turn this to like a teal or like a blue-green. Okay, hit OK. Hit OK. And now let's see if we do... Okay. Let's see if we can get... I'm just going to merge this down. So now it's a flat color. That's easier to work with, so we can have our blending layers work. So if I go to... I I think hard light might work. Okay, so this is something that we could try. I'm going to actually turn that one off, and I'm going to go to Effects, Color Overlay, and let's try that now. We're going to use similar color here, and I'm going to try a overlay. Let's go Color Overlay, Soft Light, Hard Light. Okay, so we're starting to get some fun looking stuff. The goal is, if we do go with hard light, we don't want to go to the point where it's like blowing out all the values that we have there. So we just kind of want to experiment until we find something that offers a bit of a change to it. Now, you could change the color of your flame when you're producing that too, but this is a way that you can go back and maybe modify this in a way that lets you use this a little bit more dynamically. So that's how you can make fire. That's how you can make glows, all these things. A glow is even easier for us. If we go to a new, custom, hit create, and I'm just going to go and again fill this with black. So edit, fill, okay, and then I'm going to create a ellipse tool, and I'm going to hold down shift and drag that out so I have a circle. And from here, all I have to do is I'm going to go into this and change this to a gradient overlay. And this gradient overlay I want to be basic, and I want it to be black to white. I want to hit OK and reset alignment so it's in the middle. And I'm going to reverse it so it's white to black. Now for the scale, I want it so you can see it more like this. So what this will do for me is anywhere that we have white, it exists, and then as it goes further out, it's going to darken. So this is a pretty easy thing that we can experiment with as well. That's good. So we could hit OK, or let's try one other thing, because this won't work for transparency. This would have to be an alpha. Let's try this one right here. So we're going to try this one. And let's let's hit OK. I'm actually gonna redo this part here so I have a new layer with an alpha. So I'm gonna select by holding down Alt or Control, click on my ellipse, and then right here I'm gonna make an alpha. Now I'm gonna turn that off. I don't see anything, but that's okay. I'm going to go into my gradient tool, and from the middle, and if you can't find the middle, we can always drag out some rulers, and it should snap if you have snapping on. So if we go to View, Snap, and Rulers, we should be able to do this very easy. There we go. And now, holding down the left mouse button and Alt and Shift and drag out. There we go. I've made this thing. So this allows for me to do the same idea as the fire, where I can have this, and I'll save this out to show you what this is going to do. So save as, and we can go into PNG, yeah, you know me, and we'll call this Navi, or Navi from Zelda. And now that I have something like this, let's go into Maya, and we will get this going. So let me create materials, do another blend, and graph. Okay. So now that I have this, I'm going to go into my color, and I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to okay, let me make sure I need to hit OK for this. I've got 3 monitors up, so it was hiding it. There we go. Open it. And again, one of the things I didn't talk about for the fire, your specular, get rid of it. That way it's not going to show up. So we have this here. I'm going to make a new, well, I got a plane right here. And I'm just going to add that. So assign material, and now I have this glow. All right. So now that this is going on, I can increase the ambient color on that. It makes it kind of look like it's glowing. We could do this in Sketchfab. And if we don't like how it's only in one spot, we're remember that this is something like we can have little fairy glows or something like that. We can also make it circular by doing something like that. So there's different reasons for why we might want to do things like this. We can also take advantage of that by making, let's say, there's a pendant on He-Man's chest or something like that that's glowing, or he's angry. Let's move his eyes. Oh boy, I don't even know where his eyeballs are going there, but I can move this over that area, and then it could kind of look like there's some glow, popping out of there. I am lacking in sleep. Emanating, illuminating, who knows anymore. Okay, so there's that kind of Thundercat glow that is super cheese, but yeah, there's other methods that might look better for that, but that's sort of an idea that we could do there. So different techniques for different things. That glowing shape right here, that might look really cool for the biomes that you guys are working on, for like fire flies or little wisps in the background of your sheet. So that's it. That's all I wanted to go over with you guys, but hopefully that's helpful on how to make fire and how to make some little glowing sections for your models.